I am rock hard. On YouTube, there exists a subgenre of video that could only be classified as disgusting, pathetic, brutal, morally questionable, and cringe. And it's called commentary. No, actually, it's, well, how do I explain this? Well, if you recall the intro, there's one underlying theme that ties all of those clips together, beyond just the fact that it's fighting games, and that would be women getting beaten.
My reputation for misogyny is legendary.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, misogynists of all shapes and sizes, hold your applause. The people that are into this kind of content don't hate women necessarily. In fact, you could say they love women a lot for all of the wrong reasons. This is where we get into the term Ryona. Ryona is a Japanese term, a portmanteau of Ryoki, seeking the bizarre, and Onani, masturbation. And basically it's a fetish in a lot of hentai where women get abused, physically or psychologically. And typically the perpetrator of such abuse is male. Now you can understand from that alone it's a type of sadism, but people are getting their kicks from completely non-sexual examples of it. And of course they've got to have their own special type of media to fuel their fantasies. So where do they look for it? Most often fighting games, or anime and films with a lot of violence. It falls just short of fictional snuff, but it's not too uncommon to see people want to cross that line. Now what does this have to do with YouTube? On YouTube you can actually find a lot of this material that is labeled as Ryona, indicating that it's intended to fuel that fetish. It's garnered a very specialized audience of people that apparently need this fix outside of just hentai. And it doesn't just have to be Japanese stuff. Gears of War, Tomb Raider, Mortal Kombat 11, fail states and death scenes are a big source of inspiration for these guys. Inspiration for masturbation. There are even specialized channels for this that label themselves Ryona, some with tens of thousands of subs, and hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of collective views on all of their videos. In fact, if you search up Ryona right now, you're going to find a bunch of suggestions like Ryona Apex Legends, Ryona My Hero Academia, Ryona UFC, Ryona Back for Blood, Ryona Fight Scene, Ryona Buffy. It's pretty wild stuff, and unfortunately very easy to find. Some of these things, you look at the thumbnails and you can automatically tell that it's a sexual thing. You get boob shots, you get butt shots, you get women passed out naked, typically not age restricted either. I don't believe it's up to anyone in particular to go on a crusade against all of these videos. I just think it's gross, and in some cases, fun to point and laugh at. Degenerate's kind of an overused word, but if the shoe fits, I mean, there's an entire community linked to one channel in particular, Undertow, that presents themselves as an underground gaming and modding community. They've got their own forum, which has a couple of sub-forums dedicated to these kind of things. As a side note, just to explain before we get into it, there are two other related concepts to Ryona. One being Gyaku Ryona, or simply Gyaku, which is basically reverse Ryona, in this case the target being a male, and Zako, which I don't necessarily have a Wikipedia definition for, but the best example I could use is, remember how in Power Rangers there was the Putty Patrol? A bunch of, I guess, monster dudes that would come out of nowhere and try to attack the Power Rangers, and then they'd easily get the shit beaten out of them? Well, Zako is basically like that, but with female henchmen. Anywho, to start off, when you click on Undertow's forums, you get a prompt asking you if you're 18 or older, which is always a good sign, especially if you're at work or around friends or family. Now, it's not exactly popping off. I mean, what forum is in this day and age? But there are a few threads that catch the eye, like any shows with Looney Tunes like Ryona, a dedicated underwater peril thread, video games with space battles and explosions. Should there be a website for Ryona vids? Where to go for Ryona anymore? I create Ryona strangulation content. Do YouTube nowadays trying to ban Ryona channel? It seemed that lately YouTube trying to ban Ryona channel due to it deemed inappropriate content for viewer to watch. An example of few well-known Ryona channels that are banned. Emilia the Sage got new channel but also taken down. Ryona Near R, Ryona Sima, Eye Candy Detective. Even with new channel created, it still got taken down. The only ways these Ryona channel can avoid being banned is not having the word Ryona put in the title videos, but there won't be any exposure since viewer can search when typing the keyword. When most popular Rihanna channels taken down, we were left off channels with mediocre Rihanna content, especially when there is so much re-upload of other people's videos or the oversaturation of Tekken 7 Rihanna videos. Will we ever have a website that user can upload Rihanna content freely, or people will just resort to YouTube only? As you can imagine, they're pouring one out for their dead homies over, big shocker, a violation of YouTube's TOS, nudity or sexual content, violating YouTube's community guidelines, even spam, deceptive practices, and misleading content. This one guy in particular claims it's a conspiracy from a focused small vocal group with an agenda who might report Rihanna channels. The femoncies and their SJW attack dogs need a good old-fashioned ass kicking, but yet no one complains about the violence towards men in video games and movies and whatnot. Fucking hypocrites. You know, call it a hunch, but I think that might have something to do with a lot less people jacking off to, say, the fight scene from They Live. These guys are also popping boners to when girls go unconscious in Fairy Tail in One Piece and then their eyes turn completely white. And then on the extreme side, they like beating fighter girls until they no longer fight back, then continuing to beat them. Yeah, I love it when a girl gets severe neurological damage, dude. That's just uma delicia. Here's a detailed thread where this guy is apparently trying to help you reenact your Riona Zako fantasies through Bethesda games? Get a load of these threads. Casually shot female Zakos. Evil protagonist versus good Zako. Games that has mostly female to slaughter. So we're going straight into the snuff, huh? Yeah, I'm noticing the Gyaku section's a bit like a ghost town here. Resident Belly Wimp, Part 1, Hinata versus Naruto. Belly punching. Before I read this next part, I'd like to preface it with a general apology towards all anime fans, weebs, whatnot. I have to say, sorry for consistently getting some of the worst people in your fandoms. But maybe I should let this post speak for itself. I really like this idea. The thing is, I'm not really into fart, scat, fetish stuff at all. It's too in your face and gross. I don't want to see a camera shoved right in a girl's gaping hole as she's, you know. However, I really like the idea of a bad girl letting loose a fart while, or better yet after, she is knocked out or killed, just to add to the humiliation of the whole thing. Better if it's small and subtle, but laughed at or somehow acknowledged by the heroine. Are there any clips / movies / pics that depict such a scenario? Well, to give these Riona guys some credit, I guess when it comes to this post, the cheese stands alone. Get it? Like, you know, because he's like cutting the cheese, you know? This is so fucked. Thank you all for powering through this one. If you enjoyed it, like and sub, and please don't beat the shit out of me. I'll see you later.